It built empires, fueled slavery, and became more valuable than gold. It sits quietly in your kitchen today. This is the dark history of sugar. Sugar's story begins in New Guinea over 8,000 years ago, where people first cultivated sugarcane, chewing the raw stalks for their sweet juice. From there, cultivation slowly spread across Southeast Asia and into India, where ancient texts describe early methods of boiling cane juice down into crystallized sugar for the very first time. For thousands of years, sugar remained a rare, local luxury, completely unknown to most of the world. Sugar's spread accelerated through trade routes connecting India to Persia, the Middle East, and eventually the Mediterranean. Arab traders and scholars refined sugar production techniques, building some of the first large-scale sugar refineries. When European crusaders traveled to the Middle East in the 11th and 12th centuries, many encountered sugar for the first time and brought this exotic sweet salt back home. In medieval Europe, sugar was so rare and expensive that it was treated as a luxury spice, available only to royalty and the wealthiest merchants. Everything changed in the late 1400s, when European explorers began colonizing islands across the Atlantic. Christopher Columbus is credited with bringing sugarcane to the Caribbean on his second voyage in 1493, planting it in soil and climate remarkably similar to its Southeast Asian origins. European powers quickly realized the Caribbean and Brazil could produce sugar at a massive scale, and an insatiable European demand for sweetness was about to collide with colonial ambition. Growing and processing sugarcane required brutal, relentless labor, and European colonizers turned to a horrifying solution: the transatlantic slave trade. Beginning in the 1500s, millions of enslaved Africans were forcibly transported to sugar plantations across Brazil, the Caribbean, and later North America. Historians estimate that sugar plantations consumed more enslaved lives than almost any other single industry in history. Sugar didn't just sweeten European tables, it was built directly on one of the greatest atrocities in human history. By the 1600s and 1700s, sugar had become known as white gold. Colonies like Barbados, Jamaica, and Saint-Domingue, now Haiti, generated staggering wealth for European empires. Some Caribbean sugar islands were considered so profitable that European powers valued them more highly than entire continental territories. Britain and France fought wars partly over control of these sugar-producing islands, understanding that whoever controlled sugar production controlled immense economic power. Sugar profits didn't just enrich plantation owners, they reshaped entire economies. Port cities like Liverpool, Bristol, and Nantes grew wealthy from the sugar and slave trades, funding banks, insurance companies, and industries that would later fuel Britain's Industrial Revolution. Sugar money helped finance factories, railways, and financial institutions that still exist today. An industry built on human suffering quietly became one of the foundations of modern capitalism. As sugar poured into Europe, consumption exploded across every social class. In the 1600s, sugar was a rare luxury for the wealthy. By the 1800s, it had become an everyday staple even for working-class families, driven largely by the rise of sweetened tea and coffee. Britain's sugar consumption rose dramatically over this period, transforming diets and daily habits across the entire continent. Sugar had gone from forbidden luxury to household necessity in the span of just 2 centuries. In 1791, enslaved people on the French colony of Saint-Domingue rose up in one of history's most significant slave rebellions, eventually founding the independent nation of Haiti in 1804. The revolution devastated what had been the world's most profitable sugar colony, sending shockwaves through the global sugar trade. Around the same time, scientists in Europe discovered how to extract sugar from sugar beets, offering an alternative to cane sugar that didn't depend on tropical colonies or enslaved labor, permanently altering the global sugar industry. Slavery was gradually abolished across the sugar-producing world through the 1800s, but the industry didn't disappear, it transformed. Plantation owners turned to indentured labor, recruiting workers from India, China, and elsewhere under harsh contracts that echoed the exploitation of the past. Meanwhile, industrialization made sugar cheaper and more accessible than ever before, embedding it deeply into processed foods, sodas, and everyday products across the globe. From sacred fields in ancient New Guinea, to crusader trade routes, to Caribbean plantations built on unimaginable human suffering, to the spoonful you stir into your coffee today, sugar's history is one of the most consequential and darkest stories in human civilization. It built empires, funded revolutions, and shaped economies that still stand today. The next time you reach for something sweet, remember what it once cost the world.